so much for coming. How's everybody doing? Good. Nice and cool out there. My name is Joe Nunziata. I want to welcome you to Impact Monthly. We do this every month on the third Thursday of every month. This month actually is the fourth Thursday, as you probably realize, which I was out of town last week in California in Los Angeles shooting a movie called Luck, which will be out in the fall. So really excited about that. It's a new movie about how luck works, it really exists, and it's a documentary. So guys are TV guys that are making this film. We're going to release it in October, so we're very exciting. Also nice to get out of actually go to LA where it's much cooler than here, which was hard to believe. But at this time of the year. So how many of you are here for the first time? Never been to one of our meetings? Wow, a lot of good people. So want to know of our regulars? Just take a moment. We're going to send you some good energy. Put it on. You feel that? Okay, that's just a little bit about it. Okay, so a couple of things we're going to do. You all have this, which is just really just for you to take notes and give you some basic information. And you have this goal sheet, which will tell you about upcoming events and other stuff that's happening. I'll talk to you about that a little bit later. We also have a Facebook group, Impact Monthly on Facebook, if you want to join our group. Connect with other people who are doing the work, which is, of course, a good thing. And keep yourself in the loop with other spiritual seekers and people looking to change themselves, do some energy work, and move themselves to a higher level. So that's really what we want to do. So every month, basically what we do, for those of you who are new, is I will discuss a different topic. I like to be interactive, so if you have a question, please ask that question. Try to be as concise as possible. No filibustering, please. We don't want to go on and on. We want you to be clear and very quick, so if you have a question, please ask it. You can ask it as I am progressing, because when we're on that topic, that's the best time for you to ask that question. Once we get past that topic, you may forget. So feel free to ask a question and jump in there as quickly as you like. Okay, so we want to be loose, we want to have fun, we want you to relax, we want to make sure everybody's cell phones are shut off and you have nothing on, everybody have their phones off and everybody's relaxed a little bit because we are addicted. I was very excited today because I went to the gym and for the first time I saw a big sign that said, please don't talk on your cell phone at the gym. And how many times you walk in the gym and somebody's on the treadmill and they're talking and I'm like, this is supposed to be relaxing. This is supposed to be getting away. This is, I'm doing sit-ups. The woman's actually doing sit-ups with the cell phone. I'm like, please already, let's give it up. So this is a time to disconnect for this brief time that we have here tonight and move forward. So tonight our topic is how the law of attraction really works. I'm going to talk to you about law of attraction on a deeper level than maybe you've heard it before. Because what happens is, of course, as my accountant always likes to say, a little information is dangerous. So I would say it was probably around late 80s, around 1987 or so, in one of my publications that I was starting to study this work back then, it was probably a little bit before that, and I'm studying this work, and it was an article in one of my publications, it was called Energy and Attraction. It didn't even say law of attraction, it said energy and attraction, and it was all about energy and how you attract things into your life, and I found it very fascinating. So I spent all these years studying, metaphysical, spiritual principles, but law of attraction was one that was always very interesting to me. So I studied it from a quantum physics perspective, from a metaphysical perspective, from a spiritual perspective, from a religious perspective, kind of try to pull all this information together and figure out the best way to use it myself and then use it as I teach others how to use that. So the bottom line here is a couple of things. The law of attraction has been around as long as the universe. You probably all realize that, for those of you who are here tonight. But a lot of people, a few years ago, saw or read The Secret. How many of you saw that? And for a lot of you people who saw that, that was the first time they ever heard of that. So people would actually come to me like this was their new religion. Like this is what I'm going to do now. And it also, of course, spawns a whole industry and an opportunity to make money. So we know that when there's an opportunity to make money, people are going to jump on it. So one day I was at a networking event out on the island, and I see this guy who's a sales trainer. I knew him about 5 or 6 years. I hadn't seen him for a while, so I said, how are you? What's going on? What are you up to these days? He said, oh yeah, I'm really doing well. I'm doing this, that, and the other thing. He said, I'm teaching the law of attraction now. So I said, wow, I didn't know you studied that. He said, well, I saw The Secret. So I said, well, that doesn't really qualify you to teach, I don't think. But so this is what ends up happening. So you have to be careful because people are teaching stuff that they don't know because it's a way to make money. And anytime you use the words, people get very excited about that. So what I want to do tonight is kind of fill in some blanks, some of the things that you may not have understood before and understand how it's working. So basically, we're working under two sets of laws. We have man-made laws and we have what we call natural or spiritual laws, whatever you want to call them, metaphysical laws, it doesn't matter what you call it. Here's the difference. You can break a man-made law and get away with it. I broke one today, at least one. Because I know driving in, I was going about 70, so I broke the law. Now, I didn't get arrested, I didn't go to jail, I didn't get a ticket. And the difference is, you can break man-made laws because they are made by us. Now, natural laws, you can't break. Because natural laws are universal and they work and they affect you every minute of your life. So the law of attraction is a natural law. It's a universal law. You can't break that law. So I'll give you an example. One of our natural laws is gravity. So you can't get up this morning and say, I'm not doing gravity. I'm not doing it. I'm not feeling gravity today. You can't do that. It's there. It's happening. So basically, the law of attraction is always working in your life. The question is, you don't realize how it's working, number one. And secondly, you don't realize how it's affecting you on a minute-by-minute basis. So what we want to do with law of attraction, basically, because it's a very powerful attracting type of law, is learn how to, what I call, aim it. I want to aim it. Most people are just going through the motions. They're just kind of living their lives and think things are happening to them. But in reality, they're creating it based on how they feel and based on their belief system. So when things happen to you, right away people start to look for a reason or try to figure it out or try to justify. But what we have to understand is that's not what's happening. I have to see myself as the person who created this. And this is hard for people. Because most people in the third dimensional world that we live in, they really want to be victims. Does anybody know any of that? Anybody here been a victim? Right? I'm sure none of this. We've never been down that road. But we've all been there. So now when you start transcending into this world, you realize I give up the right to be a victim. You give up the right to be a victim because now you see yourself as the creator. So I want you to see yourself that way. So you have to see yourself very powerful. Like I have the ability to create whatever I want. So now we're going to talk about how this works and what you're creating, what you're not creating. I'm going to throw some stuff at you. I'm going to give you a couple of exercises, some stuff to take home. You want homework?
Yes.
Right. You do. This kind of homework you want, right? Not my son yet. You met my wife when you came in. For all of you who are new, and that's my son right there, Eric. He's our official camera guy tonight. And we make it a family business. So we want you to understand that I want to show you tonight what you're missing, why it's working someplace. Because you think people say to me, "Oh, it worked here, it didn't work here. It worked on Wednesday, it didn't work on Friday." It's not true. It works all the time. You may not like how it works, but it's working at all times. See, so this is something you have to wrap your head around, because when you create something in your life that you don't like, it's very hard for you to say, I understand why I did that. Because the first thing we want to do, most people, I can only speak for Italians, but we want to blame. I don't know about you. We're looking for somebody to blame. Then you put on the television, what's it all about? Blame. You ever see a politician say, yeah, we screwed up? Yeah, do you ever see the guy from BP? The guy from BP, see, now the world is so small, you can't say anything, because you're going to be in trouble. And the guy from BP comes out and says, I can't wait for this to end, it's really disrupting my life. He's in London on the beach somewhere, right? He's sitting there saying, I can't wait for this whole thing to be over, it's really annoying me now. So this shows you the lack of responsibility. Because he's saying, this is bothering me. Another example is Tiger Woods. Did Tiger Woods, for 1 second, look remorseful? No, he was pissed. He was annoyed. This is annoying, he's saying. This is why I got caught, he's being bothered by this. He doesn't feel bad. I guarantee you, you will see it again. He will be back in that situation again. Because he did not deal with the energy that created that situation for him. That's what you have to understand. So this is how we're going to do this. We're going to understand it at a different level, but we want to understand that if I don't deal with it, I'm going to recreate the same stuff over and over and over again. We all have bad patterns of behavior. Anybody? Right? You want to break those patterns of behavior. So here is the first important factor for you to understand. It is not mental at all. Because if it were mental, if you wanted something and you said, I want X, you would get it. But you say, I want X, and you get Y. Well, you get nothing. So if it were a mental game, you would get whatever you want, because mentally you would say, this is what I want. Now the bottom line is this. As human beings in third dimensional form, we all want the same thing. You want good health. You want you want to be prosperous and financially successful. You want love. Is that what you want? It's what everybody wants, the same thing. So if it was possible for us to get up in the morning and say mentally, that's what I want, and just create it, then it would be mental. But it's not mental. It's energetic. It's chakra-driven. For those of you familiar with chakras, that's a lot of work that I do, which are the chakra energy points in your body, which are creating energy vibration, and that's what's creating it. It's not mental. For those of you who don't know me, I went bankrupt twice by 30 years old. I know what you're saying, I don't look a day over 31. It's all about the hair. Good genes. But I didn't get up every day for all those years, between when I started my first business at 19 and 30, for those 11 years. I didn't get up every day and say, okay, what do I want to do today? I want to get up, I want to work really hard, I want to have no money, and I want to be depressed. I didn't get up and say that. That's not what I'm trying to do. But I'm creating that. So I have to understand. Of course, at that point, I was allowed to be depressed because I didn't know this word. So I became very depressed, and I felt like a big victim. And I felt like, it was funny, I'm doing a movie called Luck, because I said I have no luck. I have no luck. I'm not getting any breaks. Anybody feel like that? Not getting a break. Why can't I get a break? Well, you don't want one. I'm going to show you how you don't want one. I'm going to show you how to get one. Because if you're not getting a break, you don't want a break. I'll tell you why. Because when you get a break, you can't be a victim anymore. And a lot of people are addicted, unconsciously, not consciously, but addicted to being victim. So the idea that I'm not going to be a victim anymore is very scary. So if I start getting all kinds of breaks, I can't complain anymore. What am I going to do? My life revolves around complaints. You ever see people that no matter what solution you give them, it's not good? Because they're addicted to complaining. You say, oh, I need money, here's $1 million. You know what? Now I got to pay taxes. So they're looking for the problem. See, this is the thing, right? If I'm looking for the problem, I'm finding the problem. So this is where we get stuck. So we have to understand that energetically, I'm creating based on how I feel. So let me give you my little formula that I like to use. We like two things I know in the learning process. I'll tell you my issue. When I started learning this work, it was very fascinating, but it was weird. And it was very airy-fairy, as I like to call it. And it was like very compelling, but I said, what do I do with it? How do I use it? How do I get it into my life? So I had to start breaking it up into pieces so I could apply it and then teach it, because it's hard to teach it when it's all weird. So, our first word here is going to be E, which is energy. Okay, so everything is energy. So here's how you have to see. You have to see the world as energy. You have to see yourself as energy. So that means I don't see people, I mean, you see it obviously in third dimension, but I understand that that's not really what it is. Everything is energy, so as everything is swirling energy, it takes me into a different way of operating, right? Then we have V, which is vibration. Okay, so that. Your energy creates vibration. So all of you in this room are vibrating energy right now. You feel it? People are going like this. No, I might feel it. I'm not sure if I feel it. But you're vibrating energy. So when we look at the law of attraction, we say, okay, from an energetic perspective, it always comes from your perspective. So from my perspective, I vibrationally attracted all of you in the room tonight. Now I know that I had a spike of energy because how many of you registered in the last 2 or 3 days? A lot of people. Right? All of a sudden there was a push of energy to come to this place. So that's vibrational. So from your perspective, you attracted me and everybody else. From my perspective, I attracted everybody. So it's always from your perspective. So there's your vibration. Now, our third phase is attraction. So, My energy creates vibration. My vibration creates attraction. That vibration that you're sending out is attracting stuff to you. Not consciously. Understand, this is the bankruptcy story, right? You don't get up and say, yes, I'd like to go out today, get hit by a car. But if it happens, it's in your energy field. You didn't get up with the conscious thought, but it's in your vibrational field. It's not mental. So you got to get out of your mental thinking. You have to get out of that, okay? And finally, outcome. So that's how you want to look at it. So you've got energy, vibration, attraction, outcome. So what you should be doing all day, and at the end of the day, you want to reconcile your day. So you want to sit down and say, okay, what kind of day did I create today? What outcomes did I create? So if I created outcomes that I like, that's good. Now here's the other thing you have to start doing. When you create an outcome you like, have gratitude and focus on it. See, what we do is to say, oh, that was great. Oh, yeah, it was nice. The guy called me up. Yeah, that was nice. Oh, the guy gave me an order. Oh, the guy did me a favor. Oh, so-and-so did something to me. And you don't absorb it because you don't put gratitude on it. And you don't really bring it in. See, the universe says, okay, whatever you're focusing on, I'm going to give you more of. So if you're putting a lot of gratitude out to getting good stuff, you're going to get more. But you just go like this. So when I travel, I was just doing a couple of seminars out in California. I always make a joke because I say, in New York, one of my biggest areas of gratitude is a parking spot. Now, you're in California, they're like, what's that? They don't know how to parallel park over there. They're like, they need a spot. So, but I'm like, you don't understand, in New York, you can be killed for a parking spot. So, every time that happens, I stop and I absorb that. Every day I get emails from people who say, oh, I loved your book, or this helped me, or I saw something you did, or my friend sent me something, and I stop and I absorb that. So what you want to do, see, we're very quick to kind of push. How many of you do that? Somebody does you a favor, you just kind of, oh yeah, whatever. Oh yeah, or you did something nice happened to you, somebody gave you a compliment, somebody said something positive, you push it aside. But the minute something bad happens, what do you do? How many of you are highly critical of yourselves? Right? Where'd that come from?
Mother.
Thanks, Mom. Okay. I hate to go down that road, but we will. But anyway. So, because we're conditioned to be critical. You're not conditioned to receive. You have to understand that. You're conditioned that way. So the minute something doesn't work out, you immediately look at yourself and say, what? I did it wrong. I'm stupid. I screwed up. I'm not smart enough. You're being critical of yourself. You're blocking your energy flow. Because you're not understanding that you're not allowing yourself to receive on one side. So think about what's happening. Think about your energy all day. If all day long, I'm never receiving the good, but I'm beating my brains out for anything I don't like, how are you going to be? You're going to lower your vibration. So here's what happens. Your energy works on frequency. Okay, so here's how it looks. If we're going to draw this as a bell curve, or as an energetic thing, you have frequency which goes up and down. So my goal is to be here, but we're always moving. So the more I am being critical of myself, the more I am negative, the more I am feeling bad, the more I am not loving myself, I'm driving my vibration down. As I drive my vibration down, I'm attracting things at this frequency level. So is that good? I'm going to attract bad stuff at a low frequency level. Because a low frequency level is built around you not liking yourself. How often during the day do you not like yourself? Think about it. Right? How many times throughout the day do you not like yourself? Forget about love. How often do you not even like yourself at the moment? Think about it. All day long. Right? So now you've got to understand that if I'm doing that, I'm into low vibration, I'm down here somewhere, and I'm attracting things in this energy vibration. So that's when, you lose your job. That's when you lose your money. That's when you get in an accident. That's when you fall down a flight of steps. That's when something bad happens. I'm in a bad energy vibration. So I'm going to create something that's negative because I'm in a low vibrational field. And I've got to get myself out of that vibrational field. And I'll talk to you about how to do that a little bit. But we want to talk about first understanding where you are throughout the day. So here's the deal. At the end of the day, you sit down and you say, okay, what kind of day did I create today? Now, does anybody here keep a journal? Okay. In your journal, you can rank yourself from 1 to 10. It'll show you how you're doing. Wow, today was a 7 day. Today was a 10 day. Today was a 9 day. Today was a 2 day. Right? So that you have to look at what you're creating in your life. Now, understand, in the world of metaphysical energy, there is no good and bad, right and wrong. It doesn't exist. But we have to label everything because that's what we do in third dimension. Everybody here is judgmental, correct? Correct? Is anybody here not judgmental? Because basically it's impossible not to be judgmental. You can't do it. So if I say to Mike, hey Mike, nice shirt, I'm being judgmental. But I'm judging his shirt. Now, even though it's positive in our world, I'm still judging. So when people say, oh, I don't judge anybody, I'm like, you're so full of crap. Because you can't not do it. You can't, because even if you're giving me a compliment, theoretically, you are judging me. On some level, right? So you have to understand. So we are built around judgment. That is something that's important. We don't want to have negative judgment. It slows us down and blocks our energy field. So that's an important factor as well. So you've got to understand that throughout the day, I want to look at my outcomes. What am I creating? What's going on in my life? What is happening? So here's the deal. When you create something you don't like, what do you do with it? What do most of us do? What do you do? What does anybody here do? You created something today you don't like. Somebody was mean to you. Somebody cursed you out. Somebody you got fired. You didn't get paid for something. Whatever happened. What do you do with that? What's that? Dwell. You dwell on it. What else? Create negative feelings. What else? What do I do with it? Criticize who? I could criticize others, right? I could project onto them. How many of you do that?
Internalize it.
You can internalize it. But how many of you project? Somebody did something to you. That's how you see it. That SOB. How many of you do that? Think about how often you project it onto somebody else. How often do you do it? All the time. When you project it out, you're recycling the energy back into yourself. So here's going to be your $1 million question. You're going to say all day long, why would I create that in my life right now? That is your question. That is the question you have to solve. That is the thing that's going to help you move yourself past where you are to a higher level of energy. But you've got to ask yourself, why would I create this today? Why would I create this yet?
I just realized something. I create those things in order to have something to dwell on so that I don't have to deal with what I'm afraid of doing.
Right, so you want to create drama?
Which may
How many of you create a lot of drama? Anybody? Okay. You like it? Do you like it? You do like it, right? You're addicted to that. You like it. So people like drama, or else no one would watch The Real Housewives. Or the Jersey Shore, whatever it is that's going on. So we like drama. We like it, which is fine. See, I want to accept that I like drama because I wouldn't be in third dimension. Third dimension's all about drama. So I wouldn't be in third dimension, but I don't want to keep creating, drama that is disruptive to my life. If I create some drama, okay, that's all well and good. I don't want to start creating destructive drama. A little drama, what are you going to do? It's part of life. But I don't want to create destructive drama. And that's something that we want to really get away from. We want to move away from that idea that I'm creating this destructive drama in my life on a regular basis. But you have to go back to yourself and say, okay, what was my house like growing up? So we had a big sigh when I said that, right? Oh. So what happens is that's your foundation for your reality. So you're comfortable in drama. So here's what happened to me. I start clearing all this energy. Lost my father when I was 12. A lot of drama in my house growing up. All kinds of things going on. I start doing this work. Tremendously disrupted. Very violent growing up. Drove trucks. I had guns. I was, fighting on the street. I boxed. A very violent person. It's hard for me to even imagine that I was like that. unless you want to mess with me, we'll go outside. Although I still box every week, but no humans are being hurt. But so all this violence, all this drama, all this upset, which is a big part of my life, like that's what I'm doing. So little by little, I'm dissolving this negative energy, letting it go, letting it go, letting it go, letting it go, over a period of time. And that's the other thing. This work, it's not like this. Sometimes it will be. But in many cases, it's not happening. It takes time to work through. You have to remember, you can't wake up and say, wow, I've got 41 years of absolute crap in my system, and now because I read a book or meditated 3 times, I'm good. That's not happening. Now, this is what people want to do. Oh, yeah, I started meditating. Oh, I feel really good. And then all of a sudden something bad happens. See, that's bullshit. That doesn't work. I did it for a week. I didn't see anything. So this is layers of pain that you are. So now, little by little, I'm chopping out all this energy. I'm chopping it out. I'm going through clearing work. I'm clearing this energy. I'm clearing this energy. Finally, after a long period of time, a couple of years, I start to get up in the morning, and I'm feeling very calm. And I'll never forget the first time it happened to me, probably about 5 years ago. And I remember I got up, and I was almost like, am I still alive? Because I felt so calm, and that was a feeling for me that was really weird. Because I was used to being in conflict and drama all the time. So I started to move into this calmness. So here's what's going to happen to you.
Did you get scared?
I got terrified. So I was nervous. I wasn't that I was scared, but I was feeling strange. I was like, wait a minute. It's almost like I'm looking around. Is something going to happen? Is somebody going to do something to me? Nothing really happened. Then it would be another day. Then it would be another day. Then it would be another day. And all of a sudden, I went from this disruptive energy, this drama, this critical behavior, this hating myself, to this calmness. That became my regular way of living. So that's really where you want to go. Because it's all about being calm. Yeah.
But asking yourself, or mentioning yourself day in and day out, is something going to happen to me, something going to happen. Is it going to be created?
Yeah, because, well, it's not, let me just address the question. So you say, your question is, if I ask every day, is something going to happen to me? Right. Well, no, at first it was just a thought. Because I was almost like, ooh, this is strange. It feels very calm. And then another day happened. It's almost like, it's as if, let me give you an example that would make sense from a physical perspective. If you woke up tomorrow and you were 30 pounds less, that would feel really weird, right? You would say, that's good. Maybe you'd say, that's good. I feel better, but it feels weird because you're not used to it. So you've got to get used to it. So after a while, I started to get up and say, oh, okay, this is a different way for me to be now. I don't have to be, see, this is important. You have to choose not to be dramatic anymore. So can you make that choice? Yeah, Mike.
Couple questions. As far as energy, should we be looking at everything as energy?
Yes.
And what is, besides the energy that we have here, what energy is there? What, lighting, trees?
Everything. Everything. Everything is energy. Because if you took a super microscope and looked at that sheetrock, you would see particles of energy move.
Okay. As far as vibration, can you tell at what level you're vibrating?
You can tell how, okay, so the question is, can you tell at what level you're vibrating energetically?
Or only by the outcome?
Well, you can tell, you're going to feel it, right? So by vibration, do you know when you feel good?
Yes.
Do you know when you don't? Yeah. So when you don't feel good, you're vibrating lower. When you do feel good, you're vibrating higher. You can feel yourself. See, the more you're in touch with your feelings, which most people are, by the way. Most people wouldn't know a feeling if it hit them on the head. I was one of them. I know exactly. When I started learning, I said, feel your feelings. What? What do you mean feel your feelings? I don't know what that means. Don't I have to go punch somebody now? What do I have to do? So you have to start being more tuned in to how you feel in the day. And all of a sudden say, wow, I feel pretty good, or maybe I don't feel good. Something bothered me. You see, so we want to be more.
Can you give a recommendation?
Sorry, first name again. Lonnie, go ahead.
Can you give a recommendation for, let's say, those days where you are having a liberation and you're not feeling like you normally would want to feel? How to get yourself out of that?
Okay, so your question is, if I don't feel good, how do I get out of it?
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. I'm going to ask you a quick one.
Sure.
Tell me the feeling you're talking about. How do you feel?
How do I feel at that
Well,
moment?
let's say at that moment, I'm not saying right now.
Sure. You know, let's say, I mean, let's say you're just having one of those days where you feel off, or your
But
day's not
what are
going
you
as well.
feeling? See, you're feeling something, right? I'm not off, I'm something. I have to identify what that is.
That's a good question. I'll tell you the first thing that just comes to mind. That's some sort of disappointment in myself.
Okay, so you're disappointed in yourself. Okay, so,
Because I don't want to say in the circumstances around me, because I know better than that. Like,
but you're disappointed in you.
yourself or whatever.
Okay, so here's the deal. If you feel bad, you can't make believe you feel good. See, this is positive thinking. People say, just be positive, just be positive. But I'm ruined. I'm destroyed. What do you mean be positive? I'm crying. I'm on the phone. Don't worry about it. Just be positive. Be good. But I don't feel positive. So what I've got to do is I have to try to identify what I'm. See, a lot of people say I'm a little bit off. You're not a little bit off. You're feeling something. So you have to identify what that feeling is. So if you feel disappointed, what happens is there's something that triggered that for you, that you created.
Right.
So let's say you feel bad, something didn't work out, you triggered disappointment. Now you've got to run and say, where did it come from?
So just recreate it as an opportunity. So now that I figured out what that feeling is, now I know the step that I didn't do.
But I have to go down to the core of the feeling.
Right.
I have to get down to the core of the feeling.
Is that kind of like what we talked about last time, where like surface level feeling?
Yes. Deeper, deeper, deeper. Now we do the clearing work, we do clearing sessions, which I'll talk about later. We go deeper into the feelings. But the first thing is at least identify it as a feeling. Not, I'm off today. There's no such thing as I'm off today. Now you could be physically tired. That's, you could be physically fatigued. We went away to Italy, we came back. I went to California, I came back a week later, 2 flights across the country. I got back that Friday night, I was tired. I didn't feel off, I felt tired. So you've got to be able to distinguish that. Do I feel fatigued and tired, or do I feel... See, here's the feeling. You're looking for disruption. I'm disrupted. You know when your energy is disrupted? You know when you can't sleep at night? You know when things are bothering you? Now, a lot of people, it attacks their midsection. There's a chakra right here. Solar plexus chakra, which is why we have a multi-billion-dollar antacid industry. Why? Because people, instead of saying, well, I've got something going on here, I'm disrupted, they say, okay, what can I take? Right? What can I take? So what can you take is you have to deal with those feelings that are creating this. So you've got to look at it almost like saying, if I feel disrupted, my energy feels disrupted on some level, then you have to deal with that. Everybody knows that feeling? So the question becomes, again, what do you do with it? Do you just say, well, I'm having an off day? Do you just say, well, everything's fine? Oh, I'm going to be positive. We had a woman, we were in the California event, it was funny because she got up and she said, I'm always positive, I'm always perky, I'm always happy. I said, you're so annoying already, you're annoying. Because no one's like that all the time. Do you want to see anybody like that all the time? You don't, right? You want to see don't you get tired, don't you get a little annoyed, don't you get depressed? Please, get away from me. So, this is because it's conditioning that we believe that if I do all that stuff, I'm going to be happy. So, from an attraction standpoint, let's talk about it from energy and then from us. Okay, it's two different things. In the world of energy, time and space does not exist. That's why a psychic or a medium or somebody who reads energy could read you from anywhere. They could be in Australia with you, talking to you on the phone, and read your energy as if they are this close. Why? Because there is no space. There is no time. In the higher vibration, that does not exist. So they're vibrating, mediums and psychics, they're vibrating at a higher level. That has been eliminated from them. So time and space does not exist. So, in theory, which is beyond theory, it's in metaphysical quantum physics, it is there. Your desire and you, wherever you are and what you desire, is right in front of you. Right there. So you have a desire. That desire is right in front of you. It's as if you went like this, you got it. But you don't see it that way. So you see it as, my desire is here, but it's what I want is all the way over here. And this is where this is where we've got to work. So, how many of you have been in a situation where you thought about something that happened? Okay, in that case, exactly what I just said happened to you. Your desire was not blocked. So, I'll give you an example. We were looking around for a location to do this event. to do monthly events. So we wanted to be able to do it. And New York City, if anybody here has tried to rent rooms in hotels or those do events, ridiculously expensive. Very, very expensive. So I said we wanted to do a monthly event. It was my wife's idea. She said we should do something every month. I said we have to find a space that we can get at a reasonable price because, you know, if we can't get it, we had looked for spaces and we had gotten some things here and there, but we said we need a place that we can do it all the time. So I started to meditate and I said, what do I want? I said, well, I would love a space that is congruent with what we're doing. I would love for that space to be very close to Penn Station because it would be easy for everybody to get there. We live on the island, but I knew I didn't want to do it out there because I knew everybody wouldn't come from all over the place. So I started meditating on this stuff for a week. Within about 10 days, I found two places, this one and another place that we've done events right around the corner on 7th Avenue and 29th Street called the Spirit Life Center, if anybody knows that place. Two places in 1 week. Now, why did it happen so fast? It was my desire, but there was nothing in between that was blocking me from getting it. See, I had no obstacles in my mind and in my energy to stop me because that was something I wanted and I was ready to receive it. When you don't get it, we've got to figure out what's between you and what you want. What is between you and what you want? So we're going to do a quick exercise, okay? Here's what I want you to do. Close your eyes for 1 second. I'm not going to hypnotize you and make you dance like a chicken or anything. Don't worry about it. I want you right now to focus on one desire, one thing that you want to bring into your life now. Write it down. Whatever was the first thing that came to your mind. Right, let me go back. Let me get it first. Who has one they want to share? Anybody? We're going to help you find it. You know which person? Lisa? Lisa, go ahead. Tell us.
A partner.
A partner.
Well,
relationship.
yes.
Okay. So right away we can't even say that word. I want a partner. Relationship? I don't know if I want a relationship. I do want a partner.
No.
Okay, so right, so you want a relationship. How long have you wanted a relationship?
Well, I meant like a husband. Let's just say a husband.
Okay, but I mean, how long?
A while.
A while. What's a while? Just give me an example. You don't have to be exact.
10
10
years.
years. So have you dated?
Yes.
And anything happening? It's like Dr. Phil now, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Is anything happening?
yeah, I mean, have you been close or has it been, whatever?
No, not really.
Okay, so tell me now, let's talk about this for a minute. Lisa's going to be a very gracious participant here. What type of guys are you attracted to? As you go.
Ones who don't want relationships.
Okay, so you're attracting guys who don't want relationships. They want to just kind of have a good time and hang out. Okay, so you say mentally that's what you want. Do you feel that that's what you want?
Do I feel?
Yeah. Okay, you feel like that's what you want. You're saying that.
Yes.
But you're not manifesting.
Right.
So there's something in between you and that. Okay, so here's the deal. You've got to say to yourself, why don't I want it?
Why don't I want to?
Well, obviously you don't want it. Because if you wanted it, you would have it, or you would be moving toward it. You're not, right? So my question to you would be, why don't you want it? Because it represents something to you that's different. It's a big change, right? You've been single, you've done your own thing, all of a sudden you're in a relationship. Weird. Is this person going to be a pain in the ass? What's going to go on? They're going to leave the toilet seat up? You got all this stuff going on. Right? You got a lot of weird stuff in our heads going on. So what is it? Why would you say you don't want it? Feel it. Feel it. Why would you say you don't want it?
I guess I'm afraid of being happy.
You're afraid of being happy? That's possible, but I think it goes deeper than that. What are you really afraid of? You're afraid of being happy, which is an answer that everybody likes to give, because it sounds good on paper, but the deeper answer is a much deeper feeling underneath there. So what is you have to get to, why don't I want this? Because if you want it, you will create it. Or you will be moving toward it. So there's a client, a few years ago, somebody gifted somebody a coaching session with me. Guy lived in Miami Beach. And he calls it was exactly this conversation. So the guy's 44 years old, he's an architect, very successful. So he said, you know, I said, when I do a session, I do what I call a breakthrough session. I want to focus on one issue and try to help you get through that issue. So I said, what do you want to focus on? He said, well, I really want to get involved in a relationship. I want to get married. I said, that's great. I said, and I asked him exactly. I said, what kind of relationships have you had? Well, you know, I travel around. I date women all over the country. I got this apartment in Miami. I'm right on the water. I'm doing this. He sounded like he was having a lot of fun.
What's his number?
Yeah.
Miami, where you have relatives, here we go. So as we're having this conversation, I felt like saying, can I come and hang out with you for a couple of minutes? You sound like you're having a good time. So I said, well, why do you want to get married? The phone went dead. I mean dead. Silent. Dead. So finally, after this, he got off the floor, and we started breathing. He said, well, I don't really know that. I said, well, he said, my mother keeps telling me I should. So for him, his true feeling was, we got off the phone, I said, well, listen, you don't want to get married. I said, if you do get married, it's going to be a disaster. I said, because you don't want to get married. I said, you clearly don't. But you see, society tells you that, all this stuff too. I said, are you having fun? Are you enjoying yourself? He said, I want to tell you something. I can't wait to call my mother and tell her, because she gave me the section. But the guy is now telling me, you don't want to get married. The guy called Joe, he told me I shouldn't get married. He was so excited. But you can see, so what's happening is, he really felt like he didn't want to do that. Now, I'm not saying that's true.
Right.
But the question becomes, I had another client, the same thing, was very afraid of being in a relationship because she felt like she's going to give up her independence. She's going to give up her freedom. There's all these fears going on. The other big issue is your parents' relationship is important. How was their relationship?
Not good.
Not good. So now, if you have a bad relationship in the house, your feeling is that's what relationships are. That's all, you have nothing else to base it on. You know, even when you get older, because those embedded feelings are deep. Right? So you've got to say to yourself, here's the deal. I say I want this, right? But I have to identify the fear between me and this. What is the fear between my desire and my outcome that I really want, or I'm saying I want? What is in between here? What am I afraid of on this side? And here's the deal. Here's the other thing that's very important for us. Energetically, we're talking about attraction, right? Energetically, I know how to manage where I am. So I know how to manage single. I know how to manage broke. I'm a pro. Right? That was my thing. I was a pro at that. I know how to manage disruption. That's my life. Do I know how to manage the other side? There's a fear of going there because I have a fear that I don't know how to manage this. I don't know how to manage this side. I know how to manage this side, but I'm afraid of this side. So you've got to keep, and there's layers of feeling between here and here. It's not just one thing. I went through a million layers as I've continued to do this work. I had so many issues beyond my wildest comprehension because my dad died when I was 12 when he was working. So what is my fear? Hey, if I have to do this work at a high level, I have to travel around, I'm going to speak, I'm going to be on TV, which I've done all these things. But my fear was something bad is going to happen to me, and it's going to disrupt my family, which I did not want to have happen. So I'll never forget, I always tell the story, and people laugh, because I said I would go travel to these cities all over the place, and go do these seminars, and all these people, and have these people, oh, you're great, I love your book, and blah, blah, blah. Walk out, I would leave, go to the hotel room, and cry. Because I felt guilty that I was leaving. Now, nobody in my family said a word to me. Nobody said, don't go. Nobody said, you shouldn't leave. Nobody said anything. Say, hey, great, good. We'll see you in a couple of days. See you later. That's my stuff. That was one layer of fear. Another layer. What's another layer? Criticism. People are going to criticize me. I didn't have education. Barely graduated high school. Now I'm teaching Fortune 500 people, executives, who have 9,000 degrees more education than I do formally, because there's no place that you go and they say, oh, Joe, here's your energy clearing chakra diploma. I'm going to walk in. Let me show you what I've got here, guys. This is what I do. So I have my energy clearing. I can clear your chakras. Yes, I went to the boarding school in Pennsylvania for that. No. So you have to understand that at whatever's between you and what you want, there's all these feelings that you have to work through. Because that's what's blocking you from getting it. Did you hate it? What did you say? I hated the job. So you got laid off. Was it your dream job? Did you get up every morning with lilacs in your bed? No. You hated the job. So now you got laid off. Was that a shock?
No.
Because you didn't want the job.
I didn't want the
So
But I needed the money.
No, you didn't need it. No.
I did need the money.
See this word? This word is banned from your vocabulary. Need is a low vibration word. It's a fear-based word. The only thing you need is milk. You need milk. You go to the supermarket, you have a need list, that's fine. But you don't need, see...
How do you pay your rent, bills, and everything?
What are you worried about?
Okay.
Why are you worried about it? You're afraid. You're afraid you can't do that. So you're going to get another job you don't like. Right? You're going to get another job you don't like because you believe you can get a job that you really like.
They won't pay me the money.
Ah! Well, why want to pay the money?
The kind of job I like.
Okay, so let's go through. So here's a perfect example of what we're talking about. The kind of job that Elaine would like would not pay her the money. What kind of job would you like? Okay, so why can't you make a lot of money? You'll create a lot of money doing it.
Well, I do try.
I didn't ask you. I'm not saying what happened to you. Because you want to be in that situation, be victimless, right? You like this victim drama. I get to do it all, and then walk around with your lottery ticket and hope for the best. But you know what's going to happen. Hoping for the best gets you the worst. Anyway, so your belief system tells you, okay, this is powerful for everybody. Elaine's belief system says, I can't do what I love and create wealth. So is that the truth? If you believe it is. There is no such thing as the truth. There is only what you believe to be true. Okay?
There are no jobs that...
No. Why does that have to be a job? Why can't you write the greatest book ever on saving dogs that sells 100 million copies and creates millions of dollars for you? Here's my friend Michelle, who's a book agent. There you go. She's my agent, right? This is my book agent right here. She will take care of it. Why can't you do that? Because you don't believe you can. So here's what we do. This is a perfect example. I mentally create all false obstacles to stop me from going forward. Because I'm going to say, I can't do that. That's like me saying, well, okay, my background. Barely got out of high school, drove a truck right out of high school. 2 bankruptcies, never went to college. I am now going to teach millions of people how to clear their energy. Does that make any sense to you? Right? If I got up and said, here's the guy. This guy is doing this. What would you say?
You must be crazy.
So you can't do that. Right? Because it doesn't make sense in our logical... This is why I say no thinking. Thinking is bad. Because it leads you down a bad road. See, because you start thinking and projecting all these negatives. That you can't do that. So here's how we manifest. You manifest based on focusing on what you want to create. Don't worry about all the in-between. How am I going to do it? No one ever did it before. No one did it with dogs. No one did it with cats. I don't care about it. So your belief system is that. Now you go into fear-based need. I need a job that sucks, right? Because all the jobs suck. Let's face it. Don't all the jobs really suck. No, they do. Right. So now, what are you going to attract? What kind of job?
So far, none.
But well, that's good. But if you do attract a job, what kind of job do you attract?
Low.
Right away, that's the first thing you say. Why not high pay?
Because the age bracket isn't right.
So in your thing, here we go. Right? Again, belief system. My age stops me from receiving a high paying job.
But it's
According to?
according to all the interviews.
So your Sam, how many interviews have you had?
10.
Okay, so these 10 interviews
They
are
didn't put it that way a lot.
they're the definitive interviews for the world of hiring and firing. Understand that? see how foolish it sounds? Do you see how foolish we all sound? Well, I'm going to tell you why you can't. First thing people say is, let me tell you why you can't do it. Now, understand one thing. Every person, everything in this world that revolutionized the world was based on everybody telling you you're nuts. True? Right? So think about this for a minute. I was just watching Howard Schultz, Starbucks, right? Starbucks guy. 1987, comes back from Italy and says, I want to open coffee stores, and people are going to, 1987, when we're in a recession by that time, I'm going to open coffee stores, and people are going to pay $3 for a cup of coffee. What do you think the investors said? Yeah, right. Great idea. This has happened a million times. Right? When people, because entrepreneurs see it. They see what others don't see. They see it. He saw it. And he told a great story because he said he went to work, he was working for a company that sold a machine that made cappuccinos or something. He was selling to Starbucks. He ended up working for Starbucks. They only sold at that point beans. They just sold the beans. They didn't sell the cups of coffee, ground or just beans. And he was the one who started, and then he left the company because he was so annoyed that they would not let him do this. Then he tried to raise the funds on his own. His wife is pregnant with their first child. His father-in-law comes to Seattle, where he lives now, and says, listen, my wife is pregnant, you have no job, you have no money, what the hell are you doing? He said, you have to get a job, you got to get your act together. He said, I go to my wife, and I said, listen, your father sat me down, he had this conversation, I really think he's right, I think I should go and get a job. And she said, he's wrong, you're right. And I always talk to my wife, so many times I was in that position, and she said, no, you're on the right track. Once in a while you need that one person who just, keeps you on the right track. And I always remember that, because anytime I was in that road, Marie was the one who pushed me back on track. And he said, at that point, if she would have said get a job, I would have folded my tent, but I would have been done. But, again, went forward and did it. So you have to understand that if you want to do something and you say, wow, I never saw anyone do that, I don't know how you do that. So here's what your attraction does. Let me give you a little story. When you don't want to do it, you attract people to tell you not to. So you bring those people out of the woodwork. Let me bring Uncle Johnny. He's going to tell me to go get a job in the post office or something like that. Right? But if I want to do it, I'm going to attract people to tell me to do it. See, that's based on I am attracting based on what I feel. If I'm afraid, I had a woman, I used to teach a class here at FIT, I used to teach adult education. It was based on my first book, which was No More 9 to 5, How to Start a Business from Home. And I always tell people, and you have my information on the front of this handout, you want to email me, you get a question. And I would say, feel free to get in touch with me if you have any questions. So after a while, you do so many classes, you meet so many people, you travel around. A woman sends me an email, she said, Joe, I have a quick question, blah, 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 blah. I took your class at FIT. So I said, oh, great. What's going on? By the way, when did you take this class? 8 years ago. 8 years ago? What are you doing? What have you been doing? And the first thing she said to me was, I went to my brother and my father, and they told me it was a very bad time to start a business. Now, it doesn't matter what's going on. You can have gold coming out of your toilet bowl, and you're going to say it's a bad time. Right? There are people going to do that. No matter what is going on, they're going to say it's a bad time. So you've got to say, I have to stay focused on what I see, action. So here's the theory. I'll give you the theory. You want to accomplish something in your life, what do? You make a plan. Everybody needs a plan, right? You need to be the man with the plan. You take action. You take tremendous action. Not just action, unbelievable amount of action. Action till you bleed it. Right? And then you're going to create your results. Is that true? No. Absolutely not. I took massive action, and I went bankrupt twice exactly the same way. Why? Because I felt I didn't deserve to be successful. Do you understand? Was it about action? Does it mean I don't have to take action? Absolutely not. Of course you have to take action. But you want to take what I call inspired action, the right action. If you take action because you're afraid, it's going to slow you down. See, how many people take action because you're afraid of not doing anything? Now, when you're in a fear base, that is the worst time to take any action because you're going to make a mistake. The hardest thing to do with this work for me, I'll tell you what it was. We're New Yorkers, we're action-oriented, we're going to go out and get it done. How many of you move into situations very often where you feel confused? Anybody? That's the time not to do anything. that is the time to stop, because here's what happens. You've got to give yourself that space for the universe to bring you the next thing you need. So here's what I always say to people. Let the universe do the work. You don't do the work. You take the action when it comes to you. My spiritual selling book was the same way. My desire was, again, I want you to focus here because your desires are important. My desire was to get that book out into the market, internationally, into stores and everything else. I start going to book, publishers, I start going to people, no interest, no interest, no interest. I finally, someone says, you need an agent. I started calling agents, I started sending kits, I started emailing, nobody was interested. So I said, you know what, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to meditate, and maybe I'll self-publish it, whatever, I'll get it out there one way or the other. A few weeks later, a friend of mine is on the phone with me from San Diego. We're having a conversation, totally unrelated. Right before he hangs up, he goes, oh, Joe, by the way, I know a guy at Wiley, big publisher. He said, they're doing Joe Vitale's book, and Joe Vitale was a guy who I knew at that time. And he said, maybe they'd be interested in spiritual selling. I think they like that title. Call the guy up. We have 2 or 3 phone conversations. I sent him an email. 3 weeks later, I had a contract. Now, that doesn't happen. Michelle is an agent. Does that happen, Michelle? Never happens. And every single person told me, you can't do that. You will never get a deal with a major publisher without an agent. Was I worried about that? No. What was I focused on? What I wanted. Okay? Yes, sure. Okay, so now, good question. How do I get rid of the fear of the outcome on this side? So, we all believe that whatever's on the other side of door number 1 is better than where I am. Anybody not believe that? Wherever you are is worse than over here. Right? This is bad, this will be better. But, energetically, we don't know what that's like. So here's what you have to do. You have to emotionally place yourself in that position and feel what it feels like to be there. You've got to feel it first, because here's what's going to happen. It's going to bring up a lot of feelings that are very uncomfortable. Like I said, what am I going to have to do? What's going to happen to me? Are people going to be critical? What will happen as I move into this other world? Will this require things of me that I'm not willing to do? Will I be critical? So there's as much as there are wonderful feelings on that side, there are a lot of other feelings that I have to deal with. Now, it doesn't mean you'll be perfectly ready to deal with all of them, but at least you will be ready when they come, because I do this with all my coaching clients, and we work on this, and they'll say, you know what, it happened, I had those feelings, I had already been working on that, so I wasn't as jarred by it, because I was prepared for where I was going. And that's important for you. So you've got to say to yourself, if this is really what I want, if this desire is really what I want, and I'm not creating it on any level, if you say, wow, I'm not making 1 inch of progress, then you know there are things in between. There are feelings here, energetically, that are not allowing you to attract it. It's there. Think about it this way. It's right there. So here's the deal. You will not walk through the door. You're the one. You will not walk through the door. It's in front of you. It's like if I said to you, open this door, on the other side of the door is exactly what you want, and you're standing there saying, I can't do it. Because it's there. It's all around you. But your fear of walking through the door is more powerful than staying where you are. Now, I know that sounds bizarre, doesn't it? It sounds insane. How can that be possible? How can I say I'm here? Now, generally for us as human beings in third dimension, we don't like stuff to come like this. We're not good at that. We like to go through a progression of steps. So you want to make sure that I'm moving toward this. Maybe I'm not getting it, but I'm moving toward it. So here's a good way to look at it. Start to really be aware of where you are today. So you want to look at your life now and say, what have I created to this point? What have I created now? So you want to look at your life. Say, well, I've created this, I've created this. What do you like? There's certain stuff that you like. Say, well, I like this. I don't like this. If you don't like this, you have to say to yourself, why did I create it? Why did I create something that I don't like? Why do I keep recreating it? How many of you are recreating something you don't like? Over and over and over, because you won't deal with it. I'm not creating balance. So, because understand something, the energy of the universe, the law of attraction is non-judgmental. If you say, I want money, and I don't care what has to happen, I don't care about collateral damage, I don't care what happens to anybody else, I want money, the universe will say, here, take it. Saddam Hussein, what do you want? Power or money? Did he get it? How'd he end up? Karma's a bitch. You know, energy, understand one thing. The universe is an orderly place. So I always say to everybody, no debt goes unpaid in the universe. So you don't have to wish evil on me. You don't have to wish evil on somebody else. It doesn't matter. The universe settles the score. Look, Bernie Madoff, all these people, you know, eventually the universe levels the playing field out. So you don't have to worry about that. See, we're very concerned about that. Oh, did he get his? I don't care if he got his. I want to get mine. I don't care about him. Worry about yourself. Focus on what you want to bring into your life. So I shouldn't say, why am I creating this? It's all you. Here's the deal. The minute, the second you project it onto somebody else, you're in the wrong place. The second you project it outside yourself, you're going to stop your energy right there. Okay, you're going to stop your energy right there. Does anybody have any last questions before we meditate out?